Hey athletes, thank you so much for tuning in to the Flex Project. I did want to make you aware that I was a little bit under the weather as well as had a few technical difficulties towards the end of the episode. I have remastered and reworked the episode for your enjoyment of your listen, so give it a listen and tell me what you think. You're listening to the Flex Project with Jordan Tatishi.
The doctors told my parents, they're like, well, you should probably just like come to terms with it, start saying your final goodbyes.
I was going to say to you, you have to be your own superhero.
To be good at being stressed, to be good at being anxious, to be good at being depressed.
The Flex Project with Jordan Tatishi. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Flex Project podcast today. On today's show, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Santi V. He's a personal friend of mine, and I'm so honored to have him on the show. A quick little backstory is I actually met him during a Navy fitness training back in 2016 for Command Fitness Leader Facilitator. There, we, of course, hit the gym, but what really stood out to me was the deep intellectual conversations we had really about society, about bettering ourselves, about helping others, and it really stuck with me through the years. He's someone that has personally inspired me to grow, to be resilient, to meditate, and just overall be a better human. So I really hope that you guys get the same out of that today. A little bit of more professional background for you guys. He has his bachelor's in kinesiology and exercise physiology. He is a ACSM certified personal trainer. Of course, prior Navy fitness, just like me. He is the creator of Lotus Training. It's very awesome, guys. You guys are going to get a chance to check that out later. And of course, 10 plus years of meditation, which we're going to deep dive into today. So Santi, thank you so much for being on today's show.
Damn, man, thank you for having me. Really happy and honored that you asked me to be on this project. Really excited for you.
Absolutely. Of course. It literally came to me, it was like maybe a few months ago, and I think I commented something on your Instagram, and I was just like, I got to do something. If I'm going to leave this job in New York, I got to do something different. And I think you said it best. I don't remember exactly what the comment was, but it was like, you got to do what you were made to do or something along those lines. And it just resonated with me about like getting back into training and like exercise videos and just really honing in on who I am and my craft and not letting that die. And that really like got me. And so as I was like getting into this project, I was like, this guy's got to be on it. Like there's no other person that's literally at the number one spot on my list. Bro's got to be on it. So I'm honored to have you here as well. So one thing, since we're talking about your Instagram, is I know that you spend a lot of time outdoors. Where was the last place you were at?
Wow, last place that I was at was in Yosemite.
Nice.
Yeah, not too long ago.
So you weren't the one that started like the fire or anything, right? Just got to be sure.
Nah, that wasn't me. Actually, they're still like looking for the cause of it, and it's been crazy because the last fire that happened was because of there's an electric company and they were doing like work, and they broke contract and they did it past their hours, and one spark started the whole fire.
Wow.
Yeah, it was messed up, but
well, those families are definitely still in my prayers. You're good, right? Everything is good for you.
Yeah, they're all contained now, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, because I know it was getting like really close to that LA area. Glad that you're all right.
Yeah, thank goodness, man.
Diving into a little bit more background from you. So you've been a trainer for quite some time, and I know you started the Lotus Training. What is Lotus Training? Can you tell us about that?
So Lotus Training, first and foremost, it's the lotus flower. And in the East, what they believe is the lotus doesn't grow in clean, beautiful, crystal waters. Lotus flowers grow best in muddy, murky, swamps in like Sri Lanka and stuff like that. And they grow into this beautiful flower. And what people over in the East think, Buddhists think, that just like the lotus flower has to grow through murk and muck to grow into something beautiful. Same with us humans and people. We have to grow through our pains and our growing pains to reach enlightenment, to find the voice of our souls and like live the lives we were destined to live, you know? So that's like Lotus training is just like when I started it, I was training people outside of a gym that I worked front desk at. And I would take them in after hours and I would train them. And because I wanted to get established as a personal trainer and build my portfolio. So once they hit their like first set of gains, you know, I would make them a shirt with a lotus flower on it. And then that started like growing into, you know, an actual business. You know, once I started feeling comfortable training people, I started charging them, and you know, created that little business that just started off as like a little community that like to hang out at a gym after hours.
That's really cool that you used to make them shirts. I definitely need to. I need to hit up your online store and grab me one now.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm definitely gonna post that in the link and the description link. You guys go grab a Lotus shirt. And also, like, just the story of the Lotus is so powerful because, a lot of times, you know, these stories as well as these things that inspire us, they don't come as a full package from day one. You know, they come from a journey of growing through thick and thin, growing through the mud and getting knocked down and having to really push through in order to progress and become beautiful. And that's what a lot of people see, but they don't see what's behind that beauty. And that's a really great story to resonate for those who are listening and maybe going through something. Is that just because you're going through something doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that. You still have, even if you don't always feel beautiful on the outside, you have it in you. And if you grow that, if you invest in that, it's going to come to fruition. And I think that's just a part of fitness in general. Is it's a journey. It's not a package deal per se.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. There's always, you can never put, you know, your fitness down. You know, once you put your fitness down, you have to start back again, over and over again. And you know, sometimes when you're going through a hard patch or a rough patch, it's easy to give up. You know, it's easy to like put yourself down. But when you do that, that just means you have to start back at square one over and over again. You know, like any fight worth fighting, whether you're fighting for the weights, you know, you're fighting to meditate and, you know, reach some sort of enlightenment, or whether you're fighting through like depression or anxiety, it's like you have to be relentless. You can't let yourself down.
Yeah, you really can't. It'll always be easier to give up than it is to keep going, but you really have to push through those days that you don't want to, because then that's when you begin to build mental calluses, and those mental calluses will come into play for the days that you have to be tough, even when you don't feel strong. You have that callus, and being dedicated to show up, just show up and keep moving, and then that will help to build resilience. I mean, it's hard for everyone. It really is hard for everyone. For me, for you, for everyone. But you know, there's going to be many things that knock us down, time and time again, and the unexpected things. But you have to train your resilience by getting up when it doesn't feel good, by doing the things that are hard, you know, and then that's how you create integrity, and then creating that integrity for yourself, for a better you, for a better result. And you know, we can't control what happens to us. There's a lot of things that are going to happen to us, but what we can control is our attitude and the thought process that happens behind that. And then that determines who our character is, who we are as a person. And it's always okay to take time to readjust and to make plans and to figure it out, to move forward. But quitting is never okay. You know, quitting is giving up on yourself and giving up on the hours, the minutes, the months that you worked really hard for, and throwing that all away. And so, you know, it's tough, but it's not an excuse to give up. Um, what do you feel? How do you feel resilience and meditation correlate?
Resilience. resilience, honestly, man, and meditation, they're almost one in the same. You can't have really good meditation without resilience, and you can't be resilient without really good meditation.
Hmm.
Like it's hard to block or to put aside all of your thoughts so you can reflect on a voice that's been suppressed by constantly having to choose in a very loud world. But through meditation you gain resilience. You see the world the way it really is. You see things for what they truly are. And when bad things happen, when someone steps in your cornflakes, meditation gives you the resilience to say, oh well, this really sucks, but it can't be worse than X,
Mm-hmm.
or I've survived through harder. So to me, resilience is just a really just other good word for mindfulness. Just like
I like
being
that.
mindful enough to say to yourself, well, this situation sucks, but I've survived, a bunch of other sucky situations.
I like that you mentioned mindfulness because I feel like if you're mindful, you have the ability to reflect and to make the decision to keep going in your resilience. Um, you have 10 plus years of meditation under your belt. How did your journey lead to you meditating for that long?
So, so I started meditating in the summer of fifth grade. Between fifth and sixth grade, that summer, I developed anorexia nervosa and
Mm.
exercise bulimia. And I was like a little chunker growing up, but I was always playing soccer and I was always like running around um, and I was just a little chunker, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then one time, you know, one of my best friends at the time, he like said something, and I was like, damn, like this dude's my best friend. And so like I wanted to make him happy, I wanted to be liked, everybody does.
Yeah.
So I stopped eating, and anytime I did eat, I would exercise to burn the calories off. That's the exercise bulimia, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And so I went from 135 pounds to 50 pounds in like one summer.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
got super thin. Like I got kicked out of soccer camp because I kept on like fainting because I was just so malnourished. Yeah. And it was like my uncle ran that soccer camp, and I went like every year, and my doctors were like, dude, like you're never gonna play soccer again. And so my parents, we ended up booking a trip to South America because the doctors told my parents, they're like, well, it's you should probably just like come to terms with it, start saying your final goodbyes.
Wow.
Like all this stuff, man. Like they wanted to drill a hole in my stomach to pump food in me and everything, but I resisted. My stomach digested itself.
What? Wow.
And yeah, and it was like during like a rough time because like the fifth grade, you're growing the most. So
Yeah.
I totally screwed my body over from like growing in the natural way. I stunted my growth for sure. And so we go to Colombia, for what would be, my final goodbyes to my family.
Mm.
And I ended up linking up with a family friend who just got back from Thailand.
Mm.
And he worked for a magazine in Colombia as a photographer. And they sent him to Thailand to take pictures of the monks in Thailand. And he loved the Buddhist culture so much that he sent the pictures back and he stayed with them for 6 years.
Wow.
And he trained under them. So it was just like the universe working for me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The universe working for my favor, that when I came to visit, he was coming back home.
Yeah, that's like divine intervention. Like it was meant to be, like for you.
Yeah, exactly. It was. To this day, like, I still can't, like, I was like, why, like, it still doesn't make any sense. And he was like, hey, like, hang out with me. I can teach you some cool stuff. Like, I'll teach you some things. Maybe it'll help you feel better. Because, at that point, when you're in 5th grade, you're not dumb. And like, yeah, stuff. And like, you hear your parents and like doctors talking about you behind your back, and like, not thinking that you understand what they're saying, but like, you actually do know. And so it's like, at that time in my life, I was like kind of like a little punk ass, I was like pushing people away. Like, I didn't want to be in any pictures. Like, I lost all this weight, but I didn't get, this like profound, like, I hit this goal of weight loss, but like,
but you weren't happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because obviously at this time that this episode is being recorded, it has the Flex Project has not aired, but Amanda has gone through the very similar thing with anorexia nervosa as well, and myself with own issues and eating disorders. So it's very interesting that you brought that up, and a topic that we need to begin to discuss and talk about. Also, going back to what you were kind of saying in 5th grade, I feel as a young child, you're still learning to deal with, just the little things and the day-to-day things and the changes in your body, as well as the things that are said to you and the things that are done to you. You know, it's funny because we're not dumb. We're very smart. It's just we may not know how to communicate and express ourselves, or in ways that others can understand. So a lot of times it's a lot of holding. It's finding other ways to express ourselves, and then what happens is you begin to sit in your misery, and then you grow in that misery, and then you shut down and you shut off the world, and you don't want to be bothered because you don't know how to express yourself. And so as adults, we have to know how to communicate, to be able to know when a situation may be emotionally charged or not understanding, and also the comments and the words that we say and the things that we do.
Exactly.
So he took you out to meditate, or he said that he wanted to show you a few things that he learned in Thailand, and then kind of what happened from there.
So, and yeah, exactly. Like, at that age, like, no one really gives you the tools to share what's in your heart. And so this guy took me under his wing, and first he took me on top of like this roof, right? And took me on top of this roof, and he just told me to sit and breathe. Like, as deep as I could. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is this? Like, like, I was like, what? Like, this is so, it was just sitting and breathing. It's like, all right, now breathe deeper, breathe past your belly button, just like, I would talk and be like, shh, don't talk, don't say anything, just sit and breathe. And like, I got frustrated,
I can imagine.
And he would sit next to me, and he would do his thing too. He would meditate, and he would always be so serene. This was the thing that always made me keep coming back, even after I couldn't meditate. He talked so calmly, and he was just so kind, and every word that he said was just like, you hung on to it because it seemed like it came from a very honest place from this guy. So the first time that I sat on this rooftop and meditated with this guy, I was pissed, man, because like because it's like there went my whole weekend, and I was just sitting on a roof, not knowing why this guy was making me breathe. But I came back the next day, and still I did not get it down. Like I didn't feel this closeness with myself that he was saying that I would feel. And I kept on coming again and again and again, and like the fifth, sixth time that I like really went and I hung out with this guy and did everything he told me to do, like for the 2 hours that he sat me out there, I felt calm and close to myself for like 3 minutes out of those like 3 hours,
3 minutes.
But it was just that amount that hooked me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, damn, like, okay, that felt good. Like, this, like, there was something there. And I kept on showing up, and my meditations kept on getting deeper and longer. And by this point now, I was starting to like come to terms with like eating again and being okay to eat again. And I was like, at first I was like, damn, like this dude made me get my like hunger back. But it was like, it was actually like, I just remember looking at food and like the respect I owed to my body in a whole different light, and so the more I started getting closer to myself and my feelings through meditating with this guy, the more I was resolving my suffering that I created for myself. I was like, damn, like here I am. I'm sick. Like I'm gonna enjoy this. And I started eating food again, and started gaining weight again, and then at that point, when someone loses all that weight in that manner, you kind of, I was very picky, about what I was reintroducing back into my diet. So I was making sure everything was healthy and good for me, but now in a more mindful way, as opposed to like cathartic way of just
eating,
stopping. Yeah, exactly.
What was the experience like, the moments inside of those 3 minutes that you were experiencing that deep revelation or that deep reflection?
It was harmony, and it was peace, and in like the most deepest, richest, fulfilling form. And when you wake up from meditation, whether it's 3 minutes or 3 hours, when you wake up from meditation, like colors are more vivid, sounds are more crisp, smells smell better, things that are funny to you will be funnier, and things that hurt you will hurt you even more. You feel a more connection to it. You know, meditation is just being. Meditation allows us to be aware, and through our awareness to our emotions, we can be mindful towards our emotions, and then through that mindfulness, we create the universe we want for ourselves.
I like that, because I feel like a lot of times we are not aware of our surroundings, and we're on autopilot so much that we don't really come back to reality until something abstract happens. Looking at the logical side and the scientific side of the two major components of meditation, breathing and deep thought and reflection, you know, we have many there's many benefits. We gain so many benefits from that. Improving blood flow and circulation, energy, it decreases stress, improves the lymphatic and digestive system,
Exactly.
reducing inflammation. And just with that, as you were saying, our sensors are more aware. Colors are more vibrant, pain is more intense. Um, we make clearer decisions, and I think that is something we really need to do to get back to being more human and being aware. Be, I should say, because being aware will make us able to acknowledge our emotions and our senses. Something so simple, 3 minutes or 3 hours, whatever kind of time commitment you have, you know, can make such a huge difference for you. As you were saying, like coming out of meditation, I feel like you can feel as if you're being reintroduced to the world, which can be a break that we need in our lives, especially being in a fast paced environment. And potentially, we can feel like we can regain control of a situation where we felt like our character has been challenged, or we may not have the integrity that we thought we did. One thing that I did want to say is you've always had a very serene way of saying things. And now, like, that makes sense to me. It makes so much more sense to me. Um, and the fact that you speak with purpose after the experience you've gone through. Like, I never knew any of this about you. Like, we've been friends since 2016. Um, but I don't think we have ever got a chance to speak this deeply into your past. So it's really cool to see where you were from having an eating disorder to being so impactful. And, I just want to personally say, like, the fact that you've gone through all of that and now you're able to not allow those things to stress you and you can inspire others, um, you know, it means a lot to me. And I don't know what my past few years would have been not having you as a person of influence in my life. So I'm thankful for that.
Oh,
I think also when we're younger, we may not know how to effectively process our environment and the words that are said to us or the things that are done to us. And and that's because we haven't had the experiences repeated through life to where it's more easier for us to spot things that uh, are constructive versus destructive. And I think we really have to be mindful of what is constructive in our life and what is destructive in our life. Is going out every weekend constructive? Is, spending money here constructive? Is telling someone this or that constructive, or is it destructive to the relationships that we're building? So it's being mindful whether things are constructive or destructive. Um, so, yet again, I just want to say thank you, because you've brought a lot of awareness in my life by inspiring me to have a deeper reflection. Speaking of deeper reflection and wanting to get a deeper dive into your meditation, what do you feel like is the goal when you go into meditation? Is there, does it depend, or is there one focus that you have every time?
that's a that's a good question. It always depends. Um, you know, like I said, meditation is like the exercise that allows us to be aware. And when we're aware, our emotions become more intensified. And, through mindfulness, we create the world that we want because we can now deliberate with a clear head and, clear vision. Um, so, you know, sometimes meditation, sometimes I go into a meditation just to clear everything from my mind. Sometimes it's to do the exact opposite and just focus on one thing intently, you know. Um, like imagine your brain, right? Imagine your brain, or imagine your brain, and your brain's just doing like dumbbell curls all day, you know, 24/7. And the only time that you and your brain stop from doing dumbbell curls is when you go to bed, right? Eventually, you're going to get sore. Eventually, you'll get injured. You won't be able to put your shirt on right. You won't be able to, eat food right because of all this pain, injury. Your brain, your arms, you won't be able to perform 100% because you're dead. You're tired, So meditation is just giving your brain a break. It's our most commonly used muscle, but we never give it any regeneration. We never give it any recovery. We never feed our brains. We never give our brains what it wants. And so our brains are overworked. You know what I'm saying? And meditation allows us to let your brain relax, calm down, recenter, and refocus, and not have to deliberate one important thing on top of such a loud world that we live in,
Yeah. I really like that metaphor because we don't give our brain a break with constant having to be everywhere and on social media. We're constantly overloading our brain with everyday relationships and commitments, and we don't take the time to breathe. Our central nervous system and our sympathetic system is under stress constantly, and we're not using enough of our parasympathetic system. You know, our brain just in general needs time off, and is constantly doing, like you said, these bicep curls all day, and then as an example, it's like a person that works mentally, a job that requires them to think mentally all day can be just as tired as someone that may be in a job that has a high labor or high labor content of work. Our brain affects how we feel, and that's common sense, but I think we ignore that a lot, and we're just not taking care of our brain like we do our outward appearance.
Yeah.
Thus we can be physically strong but mentally weak, and we see that a lot. I think now that there is a lot more trending on regen and foam rolling and dry needling and Cairo, but the question is are we regening our mind? Are we prehabbing and rehabbing our brain function, or are we ignoring that? And I think that is why I feel like neurohacking and biohacking is on the rise, and people who are the early promoters are realizing how deeply everything starts in the brain and with sleep. And my word to anyone that is listening is start now. If you are a fitness professional, get ahead of the trend. If you are just someone that wants to optimize their performance and do better, start paying attention to what your brain is saying. Start tracking these things, or start optimizing your brain function. It doesn't mean that you have to get super techie or do anything like that. It could just be sleeping. It could be taking time to de-stress, or focus on something that you want to fix, and challenging yourself creatively or mentally. There's going to be a lot of linking between physical and mental health throughout the season, and I think if you want to enjoy the pleasures uh, and the aesthetic of a physical grit, then you need to begin to start with a mental grit and clarity, and through meditation, um, and facing reality, acknowledging, accepting, learning, and implementing these behaviors, then you will gain clarity. Uh, and of course, like I said, you can practice these things through meditation. A common practice I know for me is at nighttime, what I do is, in order to de stress, is and improve sleep, as well as not just me, but professional athletes, the Golden State Warriors, and just different people. I was listening to another podcast on sleep, is to meditate and write down what's on your mind before you go to bed in order to de stress, which promotes better sleep. And then from there, it will improve brain function. That, along with other things like cutting off electronics. I think there's a lot of times where we fail because we fail to pay attention to the simple things, and we don't know how to do the simple things savagely well. And when we begin to pay attention to doing those simple things savagely well, we will see the fruits of our labor and the things that we excel at. So, you know, there's a pyramid. You want to build the foundation, and then you want to improve, and then you want to have skill. But it starts with those basics of improving brain function, going to sleep, getting good sleep, getting proper nutrition. But you know, later in the season, hopefully, I'll get a chance to dive more into brain function. With that, I did want to hop back in and say and ask, you know, we've been talking about your journey with meditation and the fact that you found meditation as a kid. Now, with 10 plus years, like what have you gravitated to in meditation? What keeps you coming back?
Like just how we started off with, like being resilient and not dropping things and not putting yourself down. You know, there once you know we got back to the States from South America during that trip, you know, I was back to playing sports again. You know, I was cleared to play sports again. I had a healthy weight, and you know, I left meditation in South America, you know, at that point. You know, every once in a while I'd sit down, clear my thoughts, or write a journal, something like that. But I left it in South America for quite a bit, and then uh, fast forward, I got into that, you know, that first heartbreak, you know, and you know how the first heartbreak always sucks, and
Yeah.
because you, yeah, 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 and like you don't know how to deal with that shit, and and everything sucks, you know. You don't want to eat, you don't want to sleep, you like your friends start to not hang around with you anymore, and like and at that point I was like, damn, like dude, this sucks. Like I hate feeling like this. Like I haven't felt like this in like years. And I was like, well, meditation has always been the thing that like always got me out of a funk, you know? And so I went back into meditating. I went back to meditation, and just like, you know, when you stop going to the gym after being dedicated for so long, you get out of shape, you know? Like it's hard, you know? And I had to reintegrate meditation into my daily practice. I had to relearn how to fall into meditation. I had to relearn how to fall in love with meditation. And, you know, when I was back into it, when I was able to harness those effects of meditation, when I was able to see more clearly because of meditation, I was like, damn, like I'm never gonna not do this again, you know, because the because the ability to see clearly and the ability to be in more touch with myself and my feelings and my surroundings because of the meditation would have totally swerved a bunch of depression,
Mm.
a bunch, like, you know, because when our brains are so strong, man, our brains are so powerful, you know, the brain is so smart that it named itself, you know.
I never thought of
And
that.
so for real, right? And so like we're so anxious, you know, when this society is so anxious, this society is so depressed, right? And our brains are so strong, our brains are so smart, and our brains are so powerful that it's going to give us the fuel to be good at being stressed, to be
Mm.
good at being anxious, to be good at being depressed,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
And it's pretty much you versus like
Yourself.
an evil version of yourself.
Mm.
That
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
I never thought of that. I'm
So
sorry. Keep going. I'm sorry.
yeah. And so it's like it's this version of yourself that like knows everything you know, that has done everything you've done, that knows the things that hurts you, so it's gonna amplify them. And only you know you, only you can hurt yourself, but also only you can save yourself. And so like when I finally got back to meditating, you know, when I got my head back on my shoulders, you know, I was like, damn, like I really wish I got back into this, because it would have saved me from, you know, developing stress-induced insomnia, stress-induced hypersomnia, like being super anxious, you know, being out of touch with myself. Because, you know, at the end of the day, like life is like the most sweetest and most precious gift that you can have. And to just like sit around and be like stressed, depressed, and anxious, and like not do anything with this divine power within us, is just like a waste. You know, like we all have this divine godlike power to change our universe right in front of our eyes, and we don't take that into account. We overlook that because, you know, we're too busy keeping up with the Kardashians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't evoke that stuff out of us because we made our brains busy.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to being on autopilot, you know, the set principle, specific adaptations to impose demand.
Yes.
You know, it's not just physically, it's mentally as well. And when you do something so often, that's when it becomes on autopilot. We're trying to always be so efficient, and because that's always our goal, to be on autopilot, that we never really wake up from it, you know? Um we never really have mindful reactions. Um you know, automatically turning on the TV when you walk in the house, automatically picking up your phone when it's silent. These are things that are on autopilot and we're not realizing we're doing. We're just doing them to fill the time and fill the gap, and to constantly create and fill our lives with distractions. And we never really address the issues at hand of why we're doing those things to fill the voids, why we're filling the silence by being more silent on our phones, or why we are de-stressing by having someone else talking in the background. We're not really using our own mind to de-stress or to relieve ourselves of stress. And we're constantly masking these issues. And, you know, it even goes back to the mask of masculinity and saying that we can't face our feelings.
Exactly.
Or we're wrong to have feelings, and that we have to be a rock. Well, we're not a rock. We are human. We are nothing like a rock, and if we were a rock, we will be close to death. And we just fail to realize that we're human on the regular basis and not the machines that we surround ourselves with. Um, we really need to learn to just face the music, to deal with these things and stop avoiding them instead of coping with them and just treating the symptoms and the surface of it. We really need to address the issue at hand. I think this goes back to us addressing our mentality, and how we aid ourselves in being anxious and depressed, uh, even though we know what causes the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of it's not even always just knowing; it's the fact that we know and we ignore it, and then we let it happen over and over and over again, and then we do nothing about it, and we're just upset all the time because we're anxious or depressed, but we know what's causing it, but we're not acting on that thing.
Exactly.
It goes back to us needing to learn how to work through our issues, stop taking the easy way out, and actually face the issue, address the issue, work through the issue, and just have that dedication and commitment to ourselves to do that. I know for me as a young kid and as a young adult, I had to say to myself, no one's gonna save you from this. No one's gonna save you from your anxiety. No one's gonna save you. You have to be your own superhero. And when I began to say you're gonna be your own superhero, that's when I began to have advances and slowly come out of that negativity and the depression and the anxiety. And really, I feel like I took ownership of my issues and of my life. And that's when I just felt so much better about myself. And I was committed to working on them. And I think we constantly forget that we do have control over our mind. And an untrained mind
Exactly.
thinks that we don't have control. And that's exactly the issue. Um, you know, it all boils down to making a simple decision. And if you can make a decision on what to eat, then you can train yourself to be mindful. And you know, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for anyone. It doesn't feel good for me. It doesn't feel good for you. It doesn't feel good for anyone to have to push through and be resilient, or to get up and go to the gym when they're sore, or to do the things they have to, or make the sacrifices they have to for a better future. But we do them. We do them because there's a greater outcome, and because there is something that is leading to, or we're elevating ourselves. And if you're truly committed to wanting to better yourself, this is where it starts. It starts in the mind. It starts with you having to callous your mind and make decisions and be resilient and have a strong mentality to push past these things.
Exactly. You know, like what I tell a lot of my clients is a lot of the times the voice of your stress, the voice of your anxieties, the voices of your cause of depressions, it's like it's like a kid that gets lost in the supermarket, you know, and they're just crying, right? And it's those feelings that you haven't looked at, those feelings that you haven't been paying attention to that are now acting out for attention. And they come out as stress, they come out as anxiety, it comes out as anger, it comes out as depression, you know. But when you turn around and you look at those feelings that you've been hiding deep within your subconscious, and you give it attention, and you give those feelings nurturing, and you give those feelings what they need, you know, only then will you be able to resolve through your problems. And the Buddha said, "You alone must walk your path. No one can and no one may." And that's the path of the Buddha, you know, just like what you said. You have to be your own superhero, because no one can get inside your brain but you. You know, no one can feel those feelings and know those thoughts but you, and that evil version of you that's, you know, out to ruin your time. You know, like you know, for anyone listening to this podcast, a psychologist or a therapist, um, they will help you answer those questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that if you go to therapy, or you see a psychologist, that, you know, because they're not you, they can't read your brain, they won't be able to help you. They will be able to help you because they're trained to pull those hard questions out of you and make you look at those questions in a different light.
Yeah. And there's no shame in asking for help or getting help to be able to have that self-reflection, um, to improve your life and improve the lives around you, that you impact. And you know, they say the first step is admitting you have a problem. Well, that goes back to, you know, realization and acceptance.
Exactly.
um, you know, you can't tackle a problem until you do that. The truth is, I mean, everyone has their problems,
Mm-hmm.
everyone has issues. um, and this isn't for you to go point them out, but no matter what you say, no matter how much you want to help some people, sometimes you have to come to the realization that maybe they have not acknowledged nor accepted their issues yet. And you have to give people time to see their issues. And it's like a parent looking at their child growing up, and it's like, oh, yeah, you're there, you're not there. You know, there's experiences that we're gonna have to go through on our own, no matter how much people try to help us. And by self-reflecting and meditating, you're probably more able to get something out of that, to learn something from it, and to take to the future, you know.
Yeah.
um yeah. And so my word to you guys is, make a plan, and if you need help, reach out. It's There's no shame in the game of reaching out and having support while you go through something that you may not have the knowledge, or you may just need some extra guidance for. Um, try something new, try meditation. Santi, I did want to ask, um, do you feel that meditation is a form, excuse me, do you feel that exercise is a form of meditation?
I I feel I feel like exercise is most definitely a form of meditation because you know you are 100% aware when you're exercising. You know, um, well, this is for the people that are actually aware when they do exercise. So, like, if you just, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you go in there and you just putz around, like, I don't know what that is, but you know, when like, so just bringing it back to regular meditation and the science behind it, and oxygen being a mode of transportation for not only nutrients but oxygen to your brain. So all of those hormones, all the endorphins going on in your brain while you're training, the concentration, the act, the mentality of training and working out and putting all of your effort into one thing, focusing on the present during one thing, that's meditation. You are just being, you know. There is truly no attachment to like your ego while you're training. There's just one thing, and it's work, repetition, committing to something and being present while doing it. Uh, you know, once once you master meditation, once you master, becoming aware of your universe and the life around you, you can make almost anything into a meditation, because meditation is being present. Meditation is seeing things for what they truly are. So once you harness this part of your brain that, is aware and sees things for their truth, you can turn working out into a meditation. You can turn a conversation with your partner into a meditation. You can turn, walking the dog into a meditation. Anything and everything can be a meditation if you are acting through awareness and mindfulness and really truly putting your best effort forward into living in the present.
I'm glad that you mentioned that and brought that up, because there are many different forms of meditation, and just in just about every culture, there's some form of practice. And even getting back to talking about exercise and meditation, they say breakups make bodybuilders. Well, in that time that you're in the gym becomes therapeutic. It becomes a place where you can self reflect and self improve. And then you just continue from there. You continue to grow and become something better and work on yourself. It's a safe space. Um, I did want to ask, getting to the closing of this, what are some ways that people can practice mindfulness um, through meditation, or what is a meditation exercise that people can do to get started?
Like just through breathing alone, like right now, take a really big deep breath. That felt good, right?
It felt really great, actually. Just real quick, one thing that I feel like we actually do forget to breathe. Like we really like forget to like just have a deep breath. Like, how often do we do that?
Right? And like just one big deep breath is so revitalizing. Like all that oxygen to your brain, just it just feels right. It's You're giving food, you're giving nutrient, you're giving love and harmony to your brain, right? So just one big deep breath feels good. 6 big deep breaths is my secret to reaching a whole new mental state of awareness. because, like, I would love to just like leave, a work meeting and go meditate in the corner, but I can't. Or just like leave a session, with a client to meditate, but I can't. Or leave like heavy duty traffic and not have road rage, but I can't. I live in LA. So 6 big deep breaths is enough to bring you to a whole new mental state of awareness. And that's what I tell, a lot of my clients, a lot of my homies that, lose their cool. Just, dude, 6 big deep breaths. That's a great way to start. Or just sitting down and breathing deeply, breathing past your belly button, stretching out that diaphragm. It's the muscle that allows our lungs to expand and contract. And the more efficient that diaphragm is, the more efficient your body is going to be at producing oxygen throughout your body and your brain, making meditation easier, right? And so 6 big deep breaths, or just sitting and breathing. Once you've mastered those 2, a quick meditation that you can get into, one that I always prescribe to my clients, is a 6-step meditation, right? So step 1 is sit or lay in a comfortable, relaxed position with your eyes closed. Step 2, breathe. Find your breath. Breathe past your belly button. Omit all visual data. Breathe deeply and comfortably. All right? Just breathing, sending that oxygen, sending that love to your brain. Step 3, chill. Just enjoy like the silence that the meditation brings. Enjoy not thinking of anything. Enjoy the omission of all visual data, and just think about breathing and just feeling relaxed and grounded. Step 4, self-mastery. Concentrate on your feelings, Why am I anxious? Why do I feel this way when something happens? Why does X make me feel Y? What do I want to gain? What are my goals? What do I have to do to get there? Right? Step 5, really commit to those goals. Who do you want to become? What do you need to give up? What's the path to getting you there? And then step 6, rise. Big inhale, 1 big exhale, finish off your meditation strong, wake up, and just attack your world.
That's amazing.
So sit, breathe, chill, self-mastery, goal setting, and then rise. Those are my 6-step meditation, and hopefully it helps anyone listening to this podcast kind of hone in on what they truly want out of their lives and really get closer to hearing the voice of their soul.
I was personally following the practices and the steps that you were just saying, and I just feel completely calm, and like you were saying before, like things are more vibrant and oxygen. I just feel so much better. You guys, if you're listening, give it a try, replay it. I'm gonna put the steps in the description. Hashtag us, tag us, and you trying it, and let us know how you feel. I want to go ahead and lighten the mood just a little bit to go ahead and wrap up today's podcast. So Santi, I have 10 rapid fire questions for you. The only request is that you answer them as fast as possible. And as clear as possible, of course, because we are over podcast. They'll be fun. Nothing too serious. A lot of times I use the same one. So, question number 1: where can our listeners find you or reach you? Do you have an Instagram, a Twitter, or a website, or anything like that?
Website lotustrainingofficial.com. There'll be a link to my podcast in there. Instagram, lotus.training.official.
Awesome. You do teach at the West
Lake Village Equinox. So if you guys are in that area, go check him out. Of course, he's a fully certified trainer with a lot of experience and background, as you guys have heard today. So that's another plus for you guys. You guys might be able to go learn how to meditate with him and maybe take some stress off. All right, question number 2. If you could pick one place to go meditate, where would it be?
Oh, it would have to be Kauai, right on the beach.
That sounds heavenly. I just need to go just to go, period.
Right, oh, you do.
So number 3, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself a year ago?
You're worth it.
That's deep.
Thanks, man.
I'm gonna resonate on that too.
Yeah, that's something that like I wish someone would have told me, or I wish I would have came up with that a long time ago. But for sure, everybody needs to hear it. If you're listening, you're worth it.
That's deep. Yeah, that was definitely one for me that I had to realize in my life, and I'm glad that I did, and I'm still realizing that. But your self-worth is very important.
Exactly.
Number 4, what is one gym bag essential that you can't live without?
Beta alanine.
Got the subs, bro. Got the subs.
Yeah, got it. Need it.
Number 5, what was the last song you listened to?
Last song I listened to was Bad Fish by Sublime.
All right. Number 6, adding that to his playlist of the week. Number 6, what does success mean to you?
Never giving up and never selling out.
Resilience, you guys. Don't sell out.
Resilience.
Be resilient and don't sell out. You heard it
exactly.
Here. Number 7, pen, pencil, or paper. Pen, pencil, or keyboard. I always mess this one up.
Pen.
And I like it. Permanent.
Exactly.
Sunrise or sunset?
Ooh, sunset.
Okay. What makes you smile?
Sharing the gift of strength.
That's awesome. That is awesome. It's definitely something. It's a gift. It's a skill, and it's always great to give back.
100%.
Yes. Number 10. What is your favorite exercise of all times?
Zercher squat.
You guys can find him doing a Zercher squat on his Instagram. I saw it today. So you guys go check out Santi's website, lotustrainingofficial.com. There's links to his podcast as well as all his content and social media. Santi, thank you so much for being on today's show. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm honored to have you, and I love just being able to sit down and have conversations with you because I always get something out of it personally as well as to give back to someone else. I'm glad that we can bring light to meditation, brain health, just paying more attention to brain, being more aware of what's going on in your life and your surroundings, and being able to face the music, and just being resilient every time we are faced with adversity. So, Santi, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, man. I really love being on, and I really always love talking to you, man.
Thank you. You guys, thank you so much for listening to the Flex Project podcast today. If you guys like this episode, please give us a share, show us some love. If you have feedback for us, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Jordan, JORDON .TATISHI. You guys can check out the show notes. If you want to get in contact with Santi, we will be posting other links to things there as well, such as the helpline for anxiety and depression, some meditation, the 6 steps of meditation that Santi went over today, as well as the link to the website for the Flex Project where you guys can check out more about the episode notes. You guys, thank you so much again for listening. Peace out.